Our goal is to foster professional dialogue between the Egyptian and German publishing industry. Today's session has a focus on online book sales, and we are very happy to welcome two excellent guests from Germany and Egypt, and to welcome all of you. I hand over to my colleague Abir Megahead from Goethe-Institute Cairo.
الناشرين والناشرات الأعزاء، مساء الخير. المهتمين بصناعة النشر، وعلى وجه الخصوص أيضاً المهتمين بالنشر الإلكتروني. برحب بكم في سلسلة ندوات خاصة بمحترفين النشر، وذلك بعنوان القاهرة الأمل يبدأ. ندوتنا الثانية النهاردة هتكون بعنوان بيع الكتب الإلكترونية على الإنترنت. ضيفينا النهاردة هيكونوا الأستاذة رانيا حنا وريني كول، وبنشكر طبعا شركائنا إدارة معرض فرانكفورت، وأيضا Arab Voices، والناشرين اتحاد الناشرين المصريين، وبنتمنى لنا أمسية وندوة سعيدة. ودلوقتي أنا بدي الكلمة لعلي. اتفضل يا علي، نبدأ الندوة.
مساء الخير، مرحبا بكم في الجلسة الثانية من برنامج القاهرة الأمل يبدأ بعنوان بيع الكتب على الإنترنت، منصات التجارة الإلكترونية الناجحة في مصر وألمانيا. برنامج القاهرة الأمل يبدأ هو مبادرة لدعم صناعة النشر في مصر، أطلقها معهد جوتا بالقاهرة بالتعاون مع اتحاد الناشرين المصريين ومعرض فرانكفورت للكتاب ومشروع أصوات عربية بدعم من وزارة الخارجية الألمانية، وذلك بهدف تشارك المعرفة وتبادل الأفكار ومد الجذور الثقافية بين ألمانيا ومصر. معكم علي عبد المنعم، ناشر واستشاري ورئيس لجنة التطوير المهني باتحاد الناشرين المصريين. بنفكر بحضراتكم ان في علامتين اسفل الشاشه، علامه مكتوب عليها Q&A، دي خاصه بالاسئله، يعني تقدروا تسالوا في اي وقت باللغه العربيه او بالانجليزيه. وكمان في القناه انتربريتيشن دي الخاصه تقدروا تختاروا القناه باللغه العربيه او الانجليزيه، عشان لما المتحدثين يتحدثوا باللغه الانجليزيه الترجمه الفوريه هتبقى متاحه امام حضراتكم. ضيوف جلسه اليوم من مصر الاستاذه رانيا حنا. رانيا حنا حاصلة على بكالوريوس اقتصاد من الجامعة الأمريكية بالقاهرة عام 1995، وعملت في مجال التعليم منذ ذلك وحتى عام 2008. وحصلت رانيا على دبلومة CIDTT من جامعة كامبريدج عام 2005، كما حصلت على الماجستير في مجال قيادة المؤسسات عام 2016، ثم أسست منصة بوك باز عام 2018. بوك باز هي إحدى المنصات العربية المتخصصة في بيع الكتب الورقية، تم تأسيسها عام 2018 وأصبحت المنصة دار والقراء، حيث تقوم بوك باز بتنفيذ ورعاية المعارض الإلكترونية المتخصصة في بيع الكتب الورقية. وقامت مؤخرا بتنفيذ المعرض المصري للكتاب عام 2021 بالنظام الإلكتروني، والذي حقق نجاحا ملحوظا في وقت قصير. وما زالت بوك باز مستمرة في رعاية المناسبات الثقافية في مصر. ومن ألمانيا السيد ريني كول، مدير خدمات النشر والتجارة الإلكترونية لمتجر الكتب الألماني الشهير شتاينشي بوخ هاندلونج، مؤسس ومشارك وشريك إداري في وكالة بوخ سويت المعنية بتقديم خدمات إلكترونية لقطاع صناعة الكتاب على الإنترنت. وسنقوم بتعريف أكثر عن ريني عند إلقاء كلمته. والآن ننتقل للبرزنتيشن الخاصة برانيا.
مساء الخير، برحب بالسادة الحضور. وقبل ما أبتدي بس حابة أن أنا أقدم شكر لكل الناس القائمين على قاموا على تنفيذ التدريب. فعلا الفكرة كويسة جدا وفرصة جيدة عشان نشارك المعلومات بتاعتنا من الأطراف. النهاردة أنا هبتدي البرزنتيشن بتاعتي بأن أنا هشرح في عجالة إيه هو الأونلاين سيلز وإيه العوامل اللي بتوصل للمرحلة اللي إحنا وصلنا ليها. أوكي. طبعا كلكم عارفين انه احنا بالنسبه لنا في مصر عدد الناشرين 1200 دار نشر، انما بالنسبه للمنصات الالكترونيه اللي هي بتتلخص بس في بيع الكتب الورقيه عبر الانترنت فهم عددهم 3 فقط. في عندنا منصات الكترونيه كتيره جدا ولكن ليهم انشطه اخرى، في بعض منهم بقى ناشر وفي منهم مكتبات وناشرين. فالنهارده لما هتكلم عن التجربه بتاعت البيع عبر الانترنت هتكلم على المنصات المتخصصه فقط في بيع الكتب الورقيه. طبعا الإحصائيات اللي محطوطة بتتكلم على مصر من فترة 2017 لحد 2021. هنتكلم كمان على إزاي إحنا مقسمين التجربة بتاعتنا لما قبل جائحة كورونا وما بعد الجائحة. فالأرقام اللي أنا محطوطة على الشاشة دلوقتي اللي هي مصر سنة 2017 كانت 99 مليون و3 نسمة، وفي نفس الوقت ده في 2017 كان عدد مستخدمي الإنترنت 49 مليون و2. دلوقتي في 2021 عدد المستخدمين يمكن هو أو زاد شوية، لكن الزيادة في العدد هي زيادة عدد السكان. فنسبة وتناسب هنبص نلاقي إن عدد المستخدمين زاد، بس مش بسبب زيادة النسبة ولكن بزيادة الأعداد، بسبب زيادة الأعداد. ومهم ان احنا نعرف ان وفقا لوزاره الاتصالات والمعلومات في الوقت اللي هو في 2017 او ما قبل الجائحه شكلت المبيعات عبر الانترنت اقل من 0.5% من مبيعات التجزئه خارج الانترنت. بعد جائحه كورونا كان في طفره، ارتفع عدد المتسوقين عبر الإنترنت ل 17.7 مليون شخص، وأغلبيتهم موجودين في المناطق الحضرية اللي زي اسكندرية والجيزة والقاهرة. طبعا من ضمن التداول دي اللي هي ال 17.7 مليون زائر دي بيعملوا تداولات عبر الإنترنت. 22% من زياراتهم وزياراتهم للمنصات الإلكترونية اتحولت لمبيعات فعلية. هنبص هنا على رسم بياني فيه عبارة عن 16 قطاع ساهم في الفترة اللي فاتت في إنه يستعمل الإنترنت كأداة من أدوات البيع. فلو بصينا كده هنلاقي إنه في قطاع الترفيه ده بيمثل 13%، وقطاع الترفيه ده داخل من ضمنه أفلام، مسلسلات، ألعاب، موسيقى، وداخل من ضمنه برضو الكتب، تجارة الكتب، وده الجزء اللي بيهمنا. لما مسكنا ال 13% دي وحسبناها على إن هي النسبة بتاعتها من ال 22% اللي اتحولت لمبيعات فعلية، لقينا إنه الجزء بتاع الترفيه بيمثل بس 3% من إجمالي المبيعات عبر الإنترنت. ولما جينا قسمنا تاني حسب ال5 أجزاء اللي موجودة، لقينا إنه ما بين الموسيقى والترفيه، الموسيقى والأفلام والألعاب الفيديو وكل ده، لقينا إنه الكتب مبيعاتها بتمثل أقل من 3% دي كمان. هو ممكن يكون في المرحلة اللي احنا فيها رقم مش كبير، ولكن بالنسبة لنا هو رقم بيدعو إلى التفاؤل، لأنه أنا ببساطة هحكي إيه المتاعب اللي واجهناها قبل جائحة كورونا وإيه الطفرة حصلت إزاي بعد الجائحة. فمثلا احنا من 2018 لحد الجائحه كان عندنا مشكله كبيره في ان احنا نعمل اويرنس او زي ما نزود الوعي بانه في منصه زي المنصه بتاعت بوك باز بتقدم الخدمه بتاعت بيع الكتب اونلاين، وانه يقدر القارئ يدخل ويتسوق ويشتري كتب عبر منصه زي دي. وكنا بنواجه منافسه من الصفحات اللي كانت فعلا مبتديه قبلنا، وكان في صفحات على الفيسبوك بتبيع كتب أسعار مش كبيرة، وللأسف البعض منها كان بيبيع كتب مقرصنة. فدي برضو كان تحدي كبير لينا، لأن إحنا بنشتغل على الكتب الأصلية اللي مش مقرصنة. وكمان في نفس الوقت ده كانت فكرة إنه الكتب تبقى موجودة بصيغة PDF ومتوفرة ببلاش على جميع مواقع السوشيال ميديا. فده برضو كان بيوجه لنا متاعب، لأنه ما كانش فيه رغبة حقيقية في إنه ما كانش فيه interest، ما كانش فيه اهتمام إنه حد يدخل يشتري من المنصة بتاعتنا ويشوف إيه الحاجات اللي إحنا بنبيعها يعني. كمان كان في حاجات تانية صعبة اتحلت بعد كوفيد، من ضمنها إنه قبل الجائحة كانت شركات الشحن ما بتقدمش أسعار مناسبة للخدمة بتاعتنا. طبعا كلنا عارفين إن الكتب الشركات دي بتتعامل بالوزن، والكتب أوزانها أحيانا بتكون كتيرة، فلما بيزيد عدد الكتب بتزيد الأوزان، فدخلنا في متاهات كبيرة جدا. لكن بعد جائحة كورونا وصلنا إنه القراء بقى عندهم وعي أكتر بتوافر الخدمة. القطاعات اللي هي لها علاقة بدعم المجالات التجارية زي شركات الشحن أو الخدمات اللوجستية بقت متوفرة. كمان بقى في خدمات تسويقية كتير جدا كانت دي برضو تكاد تكون مش موجودة. أخيراً كان في شركات IT بتقدم تقنيات أكثر تطوراً في مجال التكنولوجيا ومعلومات التكنولوجيا المعلومات والبرمجيات. فده كان فارق كمان معانا في إن إحنا كل شوية نطور في المنصة بتاعتنا. الجدير بالذكر إنه وقت جائحة كورونا قامت الحكومة المصرية باتخاذ خطوات هامة لدعم الاقتصاد من خلال التجارة الإلكترونية، وعملت وقتها حاجتين: رفعت حدود الدفع عبر الإنترنت، وقللت من الإعفاءات الضريبية على مدفوعات الإلكترونية. ووفقاً لتقرير صادر عن المجلس المصري للشؤون الخارجية، ليس أمام مصر خيار سوى مواصلة التحول الرقمي ودعم التجارة الإلكترونية. وده انعكس بشكل واضح جدا إنه في شهر 11 أعلنوا رسميا الحكومة المصرية تأجيل معرض القاهرة الدولي للكتاب من يناير لشهر 6. وبمجرد إعلان الحكومة تأجيل القاهرة الدولي للكتاب، أعلنت جميع المتاجر والمكتبات إنشاء معارض الكتب الإلكترونية الخاصة بهم من خلال الإنترنت للتغلب على عوائق فيروس كورونا. المرحلة اللي جاية اللي هتكلم فيها هتكلم على إيه هي الجوانب الرئيسية اللي بتوصلنا لنجاح عبر البيع عبر الإنترنت. أهم حاجة وإحنا بنشتغل لازم نخلي بالنا إنه تكون البيانات اللي إحنا بنحطها كاملة دون أي أخطاء أو تناقض. أهم حاجة عنوان الكتاب، وصف للكتاب دقيق، تصنيف كتاب مظبوط، سعر الكتاب، يفضل يكون في وزن للكتاب وعدد الصفحات، لان احنا طبعا واحنا بنحط الحاجات دي لو في اي حاجه من البيانات دي مش موجوده بتخلي القارئ يعزف عن شراء الكتاب، ولو اشتراه واحنا في عندنا مثلا الوزن مش موجود او عدد الصفحات او اي حاجه بيأثر برضو علينا كخدمات ممكن نقوم بيها للقارئ. الحاجه الثانيه اللي لازم نركز عليها هو التسعير الصحيح. دايما بنحط في الاعتبار واحنا بنبيع اونلاين انه الاسعار بتاعتنا تكون جذابه وتجذب القارئ او المشتري انه يشتري من على الاونلاين او من على الانترنت مش من على الارض. وده بيدخل لنا حاجه تانية في المعادله بتاعتنا. طبعا احنا لما بنشتغل على الانترنت في عندنا تكلفه شحن، فلازم نبقى حاطين معادله مظبوطه ما بين سعر الشحن وما بين سعر الكتاب تخلي القارئ عنده استعداد ان هو يشتري الكتاب او يشتري الكتب عبر المنصات بتاعتنا. اهم حاجه كمان انا اكتشفتها على مدار تجربتي الفتره اللي فاتت انه المستخدم لما بيدخل عبر المنصات المختلفه لازم تجربته تكون جيده جدا، ولازم تكون الواجهه اللي بيتعامل معاها بسيطه. لو المستخدم دخل ولقى التجربة بتاعته مش لطيفة مش بيرجع تاني. احنا كمنصات إلكترونية بنخسر العميل ده إلى الأبد. فليه بقى بالنسبة لنا يعني إيه بالنسبة للمستخدم يعني إيه تجربة جيدة؟ يعني لازم تكون البيانات موجودة في هيكل واضح وبسيط وجاذب للمستخدم. لازم يكون عندنا مجموعة متنوعة من الكتب لها علاقة ومرتبطة باهتمام المستخدم. ولازم كمان يكون عندنا عملية دفع سهلة وبسيطة، دي بنقول عليها التشيك اوت بروسيس. لازم يكون بسيط، بعد ما بيشتري بيقدر يعني يسجل بياناته بمنتهى السهولة ويحس ان العملية هتتنفذ بمنتهى السلاسة. ولكن ده هياخدنا لنقطة الرابعة اللي هي ذات أهمية كبيرة، اللي هي نقطة الأمان. لازم لما يجي العميل يدفع سواء بالكارت أو يحط بياناته على المنصة عندنا أو على أي منصة، يبقى متأكد إن هو حاطط المعلومات بتاعته في مكان آمن، وإنه في فعلا سياسة خصوصية privacy policy، وإنه البيانات دي مش هتساء استخدامها في أي شكل من الأشكال. في أي لحظة العميل ما حسش بده عبر المنصة مش هيشتري ومش هيرجع لها تاني. خدمة العملاء شيء مهم جدا. أول ما بيتم purchasing transaction، أول ما العميل بيشتري لازم يبقى فيه سرعة شحن وتسليم، وفي نفس الوقت لازم نمكن المستخدم إنه يتتبع الطلب اللي هو عمله، وإنه كمان لما يوصل له يبقى من حقه إن يشوف الحاجة اللي وصلت له دي هي اللي طلبها ولا لأ. لازم كمان يكون في شخص متوفر أو موجود في حالة إنه العميل لو عنده أي نوع من أنواع المشاكل يتواصل مع شخص ممثل للمنصة دي. عادة المشاكل بتظهر من كذا ناحية ومن كذا اتجاه، فبغض النظر عن إيه مصدر المشكلة لازم العميل يعرف يوصل لحد على المنصة يحكي له المشكلة، ولازم يكون في شفافية ومصداقية ناحية العملاء والمشكلة تتحل في أسرع وقت. وده ياخدنا لآخر نقطة اللي هي التسويق. التسويق من أهم العناصر اللي بتقوم المبيعات الأونلاين. أنا بعتبره زي البنزين اللي بيقوم العربية. ولكن إذا الخمس عناصر الأولانيين اللي إحنا اتكلمنا فيهم مش متوفرين، التسويق مش هيبقى له أي لازمة، هيبقى إهدار موارد بشرية ومالية في الأرض. ولازم كمان لما ننفذ سياسة التسويق والخطة بتاعتنا لازم تكون متنفذة بكفاءة وفعالية وفي الاتجاه الصحيح، عشان هو ده اللي هيوصلنا للنمو اللي احنا محتاجينه. شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا يا رانيا. Now we will move to René Kohl, the head of publishers, services and e-commerce at Steinsche Buchhandlung and the co-founder of BookSuite, a web agency for the publishing industry. Was born in 1966 in Berlin, Germany. From 1998 to 2018, he was working as a CEO of Colibri, a special interest online store for good books, and an e-commerce consultant. He also working in e-commerce committees in Forsten Verein des Deutsche Buchhandels. Welcome, René, and the mic.
Thanks a lot, Ali, for your introduction, and thanks a lot, Rania, for all these informations you give to us. I think we can speak a lot about different points of your charts, and I first will start with my presentation, and I think later we will have this on your charts too. So I share my screen, just a second. Okay, and here we are. So before I start with my points, with my 10 recommendations for an emerging e-commerce market, I want to thank you for the organization of this event now, and for getting the opportunity to think and learn about the Egyptian book market, and especially about the Egyptian e-commerce situation for publishers and booksellers. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to be here with you. Thanks a lot. The following recommendations are the results of learnings from 20 years e-commerce experience in Germany, or 25 nearly. For sure, not everything can be compared. 20 years ago, nobody in the world knew how e-commerce would develop. We have had no social media industry, no smartphones. The Latin writing system from left to right is more compatible with technical developments in Silicon Valley, maybe. But I hope that some of my understandings will be useful for your actual discussion on the future of e-commerce in the Egyptian publishing industry. And so I have 10 points I want to show you and discuss with you. I hope it works. So sorry for that. The first point from me is, first thing is mind the standards. Note and maybe include standards like ONIX for books we can speak about, like EDI standards for business. ONIX is, now it's a bit technical, it's an XML-based metadata standard. It describes books, authors, and publishers. It is developed by the members of Editeur. Editeur is an international group coordinating the development of these standards. Editeur has over 110 members until now from 27 countries, including North America countries, Canada, United States, South America, Brazil, most European countries, and the Asia Pacific region, Australia, China, Japan, India, Korea. And I've seen that Egypt is a member of Editeur too. So make use of this really helpful contact and helpful membership, and try to find out what is good for you, for your business. And you should take care too to other standards, EDI standards. EDI is short for electronic data exchange. So it's helpful to use something like EDIFACT. These are transaction standards, especially for e-commerce, for communication, for orders, payments, logistic security, and data security. You should have them too. So maybe Rania, you could give me an answer on this.
Hi, René. Yes, you are very right. It is important that there are a fixed set of international standards that we must abide by. We should have the proper data structures, the proper meta fields, and even whatever is required. But we do have a few challenges, because you do know that IT knowledge is still emerging in our country, and it's starting to grow. So the main two challenges that we are facing are not all their publishers have their metadata. Very few have digital catalogs. And sometimes these digital formats are in standards that are not compatible with our websites. And we have been trying to convert a lot of the data, paperback data, into metadata, but it is very costly. And it has resulted in data fragmentation. We had a lot of replicas, inaccurate characters, and so many things. So this lack of consistency makes it very challenging. I think we need to reorganize all of this data structure.
I think René was disconnected, but maybe Ali and Rania, you can discuss the first recommendation. René is joining us in a few seconds.
Sure. Rania, can you focus your advice about the importance of metadata in the online sales? Rania, did you hear me?
No, Ali. علي هتحب أجاوب بالإنجليش ولا بالعربي؟ أنا دلوقتي على القناة اللي بالعربي.
Up to you.
طيب.
Until René will come.
أوكي. طيب علي، أنا هحاول على الإنجليش channel دلوقتي. Okay, I'm on the English channel now. Ali, please, could you just one more time, please repeat your question?
Okay, can you focus what's the importance for metadata?
Categories.
For the online sales.
Categories. We have to unify our system for categories, because we discussed this a couple of times. If we don't have the right categories that make it interesting for the online purchaser, it will be very difficult for us to promote the books.
Good. Welcome back, René.
I want to say, yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I don't know what has happened. I have done nothing. But I heard half of the answer from Rania, but we spoke about this point before, so I think I can go on with my answer to you. I know that you speak about all these problems you have now and about the situation you have now in this standard points. But I think it's necessary to go forward in this question, especially. It's the base of everything, of getting huge business. You will have no chance without all these standards. So this is the point. And in some ways, it could be easier when you have not so much appropriate systems now outside, because this is a chance to go together on one system, and maybe this could help too. So it could be a chance to be not the first one, so because you have not to invent everything by your own. Okay, I take the next point. I hope I can. My second point is, don't reinvent the wheel. Search and use and make use of software if it's already available. There's software for nearly every problem out now. You can find complete web shop systems. You can find mobile m-commerce systems. You can find payment systems by payment service providers. You can find metadata service provider companies or organizations which could help you developing something like a book in print catalog if you haven't now. I don't know exactly what's the situation in Egypt. For example, as Meta Books, a project for Brazil, for the Brazilian publishing and booksellers industry, which was made in cooperation with the German VLB, the German Books and Print institution, a daughter from the German, from the organization of booksellers and publishers. So again, don't try to invent everything by your own. Try to find out what is on the market and try to use it if it's possible.
Okay, I personally agree very much with what you're saying. However, with web shop systems and e-commerce systems, the technology that is available to support this is only available in English. And so you do know our industry is all in Arabic. So sometimes it is very difficult for the software to read the Arabic titles and convert them to the corresponding ASCII code. And sometimes this results in a complete destruction of data. So we tried our own experimentation, and to solve this problem, we tried to install apps that enable the software to read the data properly. But on the long run, it is very costly. And no matter how developed the application is, it still slows down the search algorithm and slows down the performance of the website. Others tried the Arabic coding for the shop, but from my personal observation, it is very good, but the user experience and the user interface are not as friendly as the already ready-made web shop systems. So this is quite a problematic situation that we are facing at the moment.
I can imagine. So when we spoke about all this the first time, I remembered my situation 20 years ago. I think in some points it's nearly the same, and I know what it means, what you have to do now in your situation. And I have no concrete solution for your problem now, for this problem. It is necessary, I think if it is necessary to build up the technology in Arabic, it has to do. So I read that Arabic is spoken in 22 countries by more than 400 million speakers in 2 continents. So the market is huge enough to do. But even if you must not start by zero, but analyze the given technology. So maybe you must do a bit copycat. It could help. And this is maybe one answer to this point from me. Okay. So the third point, my third point is collaboration wins. Avoid parallel development of the same tools. And I will give you three examples for this thought and for the idea. In Germany, we can find different good examples of cooperation in the publishing industry. In 1970, we started the VLB. We spoke about. It's a catalog of all available titles from the Buchhändlervereinigung, the organization of booksellers, founded and arranged, and with the cooperation from all the publishers of Germany. It's a part of the organization of publishers and booksellers in Germany. The VLB was published in 1988 on CD-ROM. Before that, it was printed only in catalog, then on CD-ROM, and went online in 2002. In the last years, it was especially successful by making different fees for different metadata quality. The better the quality, the cheaper the price to go into this catalog. Today, it is a catalog with some million titles filed. It has really a great quality. It gives information, I think more than 100 informations about every book with this is inside. And it's the basic of every book business, online book business in Germany, I would say. The second example, the hugest bookselling groups in Germany work together in a joint venture to invent and distribute the Tolino. Normally, they were not partners, but for this project, they are going to work as a partner because the project was too huge for every one of them to do by its own. They built with Tolino, they built an ebook ecosystem with ebooks, shops, apps, and book readers. And they find different ways to participate other booksellers in this project. So two big and I think good examples for good cooperation. A third one I will give, it's from my own history. In the beginning of WWW in Germany in 1998 or 1999, the end of the 90s, I founded two companies, a bookstore, Colibri, and a web agency which developed websites from different publishers in one system. So we learned in the early years that it's necessary to have one system.
And this makes the margins very low. And the lifetime value of the customer is pretty low. So I think with collaboration, we could really get around the difficulty of having low margins, and hopefully it will increase our efficiency.
Okay, so go on in this way.
Okay.
My fourth point means is diversify the tasks, find specialists for special tasks. That's what you say, Rania.
Yes.
I think it is better to crack a nut with a nut cracker than by teeth. Thinking about the right tools, partners, and methods before starting the work could help in much cases. And it would be a good development if there would be the possibility to specialize. Booksellers should specialize, maybe if it's a way on subjects or maybe on product formats. So we have audio bookshops in Germany, or we have ebook bookstores in Germany, or we have art bookstores in Germany, and we have online or e-commerce art bookstores too. Web designers should make web design. Database and metadata specialists should be specialists for catalogs. Web agencies could help to bring together all these points, and social media specialists are good for online marketing or for social media marketing. So it's necessary to find these specialists or to make these specialists.
I totally agree. But as mentioned before, this can only be done through collaboration.
Okay. My next, you can hear it in every e-commerce handbook or whatever. Customer is king. It's really necessary to understand, I think, and Amazon shows us, and I think will show you what it means. Publishers sometimes tend to a sense of mission. That's why they are publishing books. Go to the other side of the table and sit on the share of the customer. It's necessary for successful online business. Could he or she, the customer, understand the offer? Could he or she find the book, use the tool? For a customer, it is easier. It's relevant tool. It's easier to have one catalog than 1,000, one customer account than hundreds, one app than 10. So that's the reason why we get huger and huger online e-commerce platforms. But if someone is a specialist, he has a right to be as a specialist too. So the customer will decide if he wants to take the one big version or the one big shop or account, or if he takes a mixture of some specialists. So what they would like to have. Would they pay shipping costs? Do they accept payment in advance? Where do they do their online shopping? Ask them, analyze your store, analyze the behavior of your customers, and so this is necessary to go forward.
And yes, I totally agree. I would like to add also the 4 main points that I mentioned in my presentation, which is offering customers a diverse and wide variety of books, reasonable prices for books for the whole service, fast and efficient delivery, and also provide assistance to the customers throughout the whole process.
Yeah. What is a reasonable price, for example, could be a discussion. So maybe it could be it could be possible to give or to make not or to have not the cheapest price because it's online, because it's not as cheap as other possibilities to sell books. But it could be more comfortable to sell books online. So maybe you could find customers which pay for this information, for service also. So don't be so too defensive. It's my answer on this point.
This is a very valid point. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Number 6. My sixth recommendation or learning from German development. Social media, I think, are good for attraction and has different good possibilities to work with. But I think shops are good for final transaction. I think you should use appropriate tools for respective tasks. So shops do have special infrastructure, or should have. So they organize address management. They have tools for good payment. They have modules for payment. They can organize shipping methods. and could give shipping informations to the customers. You can make notifications and informations related to products in shops, and it's good for product-related marketing. And I have heard from you, Rania, that a lot of online or e-commerce business in Egypt is now working via social media. So I'm interested with what you are saying about this point.
What I really mean, and to simplify things, the social media, the campaigns that we do on Facebook or basically Facebook, it's like the fuel that you put in a car. It's what keeps the business going. Because I don't think Google is very common, searching via Google, maybe nowadays, but before it was just the social media. And based on the culture, I mean, a few years ago, the only definition of selling online was selling through Facebook pages.
Okay, cool. So it's a different market, and you have to know, and I have to know. But I couldn't predict the development in Egypt. When we started in Germany, we have had neither shops nor social media. So it was maybe in this situation, it was more normal for us to develop shops. Lots of publishers changed from print marketing instruments to online, and they gave the same information but only in another media. And they have had some addresses which with them they could start, and so maybe it was the reason why we start in this way with these shops. I'm not sure if the way to sell goods via social media could scale enough. I'm not sure. Yeah, I see it in your face. Okay. For processing orders, for example, I think it's necessary to have them right formatted. You must have them in the right in the right data format and the right systems too. So maybe it works with social media. Then you know more about maybe in the Egypt situation. In Germany, I wouldn't be able to make a real good Facebook-based online shop.
Well, Facebook is not sustainable. I mean, Facebook shops are not sustainable.
Okay. Okay. Another point, another direction. I think, and maybe you should think about too, or maybe you do, integrate the authors and their communities, especially in marketing questions. Authors could have huge fan bases and direct contact to the customers, but very often they need help with e-commerce conversion and fulfillment, because they are authors and they are writing books and they are not able to want to pack and deliver and so on. In Germany, I think it took a lot of time to understand that the role of authors in the e-commerce context. Maybe it partly depended a bit on the catalogs. And authors, our catalogs are only book-based, and authors in these catalogs are only names, but no participants. And it took a lot of time to understand that authors are very helpful for publishers to sell books together with the publishing houses. Authors have blogs, have own websites, social media, fan sites, and other ways, maybe like Twitter also, to reach their readers. And some of the best successes I had with authors and with publishing houses in my collaboration were projects like signing books exclusively for the publisher's web shop. So if you have a fan base with 300 fans or 3,000 fans or 30,000 fans, you are able to sell 300 books in 1 hour if an author say, hey, I write my name in it. So maybe it could be an idea for you.
Actually, that was the case in Egypt. That is the case. Authors definitely add success to any book event that's taking place. But with the online sector, we still need to find proper means of implementing the collaboration with the author via the internet and online shops.
I think, yeah, and there you must find your own ways. And we have not the only one solution in Germany, but we have lots of nice projects we have had last year. So maybe you will find some good ideas, or you will have some good ideas too. Okay, next point, special interest. Special interest publishers and special interest stores will be or could be the spearhead of some development. Learn from specialists, whether they are science and academic publishers or thriller or art book booksellers. Their specialization entails new skills. Beside Amazon and the big bookselling companies, which offers every book to everyone, the most successful online bookstores in Germany are specialized bookstores, maybe for medicine or for legal or text law literature, and mail order booksellers, maybe too, when they were able to convert their catalogs.
Well, it was very interesting thinking about this, but personally, we haven't applied it consistently for a couple of reasons. Number one, specialized publishers want to be the only ones focusing on their market, and they don't want to scatter it with other people. They don't want to share their market share with others. I totally agree, because it has taken them some time to reach this segment. And online, in order to try to reach a specific segment, it costs us a lot. So without the collaboration on both parts, we will never be able to reach the right point. However, we are thinking of restructuring our strategy and collaborating with specialized publishers and bookstores in a different way for the next period to come.
We have exactly the same situation. Problem when you are a bookseller, or situation maybe when you are a publisher, a specialist publisher. Publishers in Germany try to find a way by their own, try to find a way directly to the customer. The customers very often don't want to buy the books by too many publishers. So this is the point you have to deal with. Publishers could do something by their own, but not everything, I think. And the booksellers must have good arguments to say why it is worth to work together with them. So they must have special offers, special arrangements for their customers, which one publisher by its own alone is not able to have or to do. In the beginning, I think it could be more expensive to focus on niche target groups. It's another point, but on the long run, it will make the business more successful, or could make more successful. We have very successful newsletter marketing, maybe in Germany. This means email marketing with information maybe about medical literature only for doctors, hospitals, and so on. So you need the time to find them, but you have good possibilities to do so. And for them, it could be very helpful to get informations like this and to know where to buy books about which they find in the newsletters. Okay, so number 9, use standard tools. My first point, but tell different stories. Different interests need different offers. One fits all is not always possible. If you have specialized shops, you should use standard shop infrastructure, but individualized category systems maybe, or individualized contents. In Germany, we have had the luck that we have had 3 wholesalers which developed shop systems for their customers, the booksellers. So nearly every book shop in Germany has an online store. We have not only 3, but 3,000. But the downside of this constellation was every shop looked like the other, because they all use the same system. In the last years, this situation changed. Booksellers can give their shop a more individual face. But for this, it is also necessary that you have skilled personnel, that you have the people which know what they have to do in this specialization.
So let me rephrase the question, or rephrase your recommendation. Are you recommending that we use the same infrastructure but with different identities?
The same infrastructure, but with a different, yes, maybe identities or contents or storefronts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can have the same infrastructure, maybe the same base catalog, but one store can make a bookshop only for crime literature from this information, and another only with art literature.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, and it's worth looking into it.
Yeah, okay. So my last point, maybe it could be the first point, or however, try to automate what could be automated. Think about in every constellation. Don't waste your time. In the end of the development, I'm sure nearly everything will be automated. Catalogs will be exported automatically from publisher software to bookstores, or to systems, maybe to bookstores, or to systems or to marketplaces, maybe. Orders will be transferred automatically into ERP systems in the systems to write to factorize the books and so on. Payments will be squared with invoices. Delivery informations will be transferred to the logistic partners. The earlier you start with the automation, the earlier you earn the benefits. Think about it when you realize that you are doing the same thing the second and third time. So then it's the moment to think, hey, could I do it automatically?
I totally agree. It is true. But it's very expensive to automate the industry with no cross-integration of information systems between publishers, booksellers, and online platforms.
Totally true. And in this point too, we have had, in some points, we have had the same situation 20 years ago. We have had the one huge catalog. This was very helpful and the good starting point. And other things we have to build together in the last 20 years too. So I think it will take not so long for you to go this way, but I think it's necessary. On the long run, it is more costly to do not. But I totally agree. First, you need the conditions to automate, but you should have a focus on it. So these were my and our 10 points, maybe to start the discussion with the panel. And I thank you for your answers, Rania, and I hope we will have a good start now in the discussion.
Thank you, René. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, René and Rania, for the great presentation, and it's cool. Now we will move to our open discussion and question and answer. And kindly, for all attendees, you can put your question in the field of Q&A, write in English or Arabic, and don't worry, we have a lot of questions now. The number one for you, René and Rania. For us as a publisher, as a stakeholder in publishing industry, why is it important for us to focus on online book sales now, before that?
Rania, will you start? It's a question for us both, or?
Okay, I had a problem with the internet connection. So Ali, could you please repeat the question?
The question for us as a publisher, as stakeholders in publishing industry, why is it important for us now to focus on online sales?
Okay, basically, I think this is the future. With COVID, with lockdowns, you never know what's coming next. I don't think we have another choice. And it's one of the best solutions now to boom, to help save, in my opinion, it's one of the best solutions to save the industry in Egypt.
Great.
I agree totally with you, Rania. When I see the situation you have now, the maybe 2% of whole for book business is e-commerce business, when I understand right, Rania. I think you have a chance to get higher. So in Germany now, the revenue share for online bookshops, they say, I'm not sure if it's right, is about 20%. I think it's higher than 20%, maybe 30%. And I think in the long term, the development all over the world shows one direction. E-commerce is growing. Egypt is large. It's you have big cities. You have a lot of traffic and a lot of reasons why people could think about not to walk every day to a bookstore. So maybe it could be a way to sell books for you. So I'm the only one, and I hope you could hear me further on. And short term, I can speak about Corona. We have the Corona situation like you, and Corona shutdowns, and I'm able to see the business development only on publishing websites, and I can say that we have doubled the online business on these publishers' websites in the last 12 months. So it was really a good help for the publishers that they have their web shops to help a bit through this crisis. So Ali is muted.
Sorry, thank you, René.
Okay.
The next question is, what are the best strategies to sell our books online? Yeah, do you have a lot of strategies? What to recommend the best strategy for that?
So when I should answer, I would think for me, I don't know much about the Egyptian market, and it's, I have to be very careful with my answer. It's necessary to know each market because every market has another situation. But I think first, there is not one best strategy, but different strategies for different sub-markets. And publishers maybe could have another strategies than booksellers. So this is one point. But I will find some points which work for booksellers and publishers for both sides. I will give a general answer. You only can sell what you can show. The more standardized the use of metadata, the better the chance to show your product on many places. So this you must have in mind whatever you do. You shouldn't do every publisher by its own, but you should find to standardize your metadata system. And another point, maybe, I'm not sure, but maybe it could be an idea: when your book prices are very low, you have no margin to pay the transaction costs. If the customers are willing to pay them, let them pay. Otherwise, it could be a good constellation to sell ebooks. When the ebooks infrastructure is available, is ready, the transaction costs for ebooks are relatively low. So you can have a relatively good return on it. So I have heard that that in different countries in Africa, they make a jump to huger ebook market than in some countries in Europe or so, where we have the good brick and mortar infrastructure and the shop in every street and every corner. So if you haven't, or if you have some infrastructure problems with physical infrastructure, maybe it could be a way to change directly to ebooks. But I don't know exactly your situation.
Thank you, René. Rania, do you have anything to add with René?
I personally believe that René tackled everything. And from my personal experience, I think the strategy depends on what we want to sell and when we want to sell it.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rania. Next questions. How can I improve my book sales?
That's for me too? Okay,
yeah,
I think I start. Okay.
Yes, for both you and Rania. You know,
okay, I just want to be too loud. You mean in e-commerce? It's the first question. Yeah.
Yes.
Improve book sales in e-commerce. Okay. Yes. I think the greatest step is the step from 0 to 1. If you have sold the first book online, the way to the customer is principally established. From now on, you have to optimize. That's my experience in the last 20 years. If the process to present the products is too costly or takes too long because you have not the right data on the right place, review your workflow in this point. If some people find your online shop or your website, then you have to find out how they did. So you have to analyze, and then you can help other customers to find this way easier. Maybe if some people buy books online, then check again with analytic software where other customers are stepping out, why they don't buy books at your store. So this is really normal e-commerce business, but you should have and you have to analyze and to do the same like in a normal store where you have to watch your customers too and to see. It's not it's for publishers, it's a new thing because publishers don't know customers normally. Booksellers know better customers and look better for the behavior of customers, and publishers have to learn, I think. If the customers don't come back again, ask them why not. So you can speak with your customers and do it, and maybe you will find out. That's my point.
Thank you, Rania. You are muted, Rania, please. Thank you.
For me, the biggest challenge over the past years was finding the right, what we call in marketing, persona. Finding the right persona for the right books. With the diversity, we had a humongous number of books on the platform, and we didn't know. We didn't have the books at hand. So we found it very challenging to try to identify the right persona for the right books. But I think we are remodeling and we are reshifting our marketing targets, and hopefully things will work well for all of us in the near future.
Yeah, it's a totally right point to find the personas. It's totally necessary to think about the people you are making your work. Very often when I speak with publishers, I think they thought the online community, the e-commerce customers, are totally other people than the customers in their before internet. And I always told to them, no, they are the same people, but they only change the challenge. So speak with them like you do before, and you will find the right way. So, and this was one one point I found out last in all the time. So it's necessary to know your customers.
Very true. Very
Thank
true.
you.
Totally agree.
René and Rania, move to the next question. Which is the better for the publishers to create their own platform or to deal with external distribution platform?
Yeah.
Still muted.
Yeah, this is a very interesting question. The reason why I came up with my platform, and one of the main things I always said when I was promoting my idea was, whatever is more cost effective, we need to do. So some publishers have their own platforms, but running a platform can be costly. When I did my own platform, I wanted to save costs for everyone. But I guess whatever is best for everyone, every publisher, every bookseller knows their needs, and they have to do whatever serves their own needs and purposes.
I see. I think these are the same points. For me, the publisher's own platform maybe has some other things to do. First, in Germany, most of the publishing websites are only marketing just to show their books and to show other authors that they exist. How do they work for their authors, and to show the people from the media, about what to speak, and it's more marketing and not mostly it's not the main point to sell books. So it's good to sell some books to refinance the cost for this platform, but it's not the main goal. I have a look on both sides. In my company, we have some online bookstores, and we are working for different publishers and with different books, and we sell everything to everybody, so you can say. This is one side, and on the other side, I'm working with publishers directly, and I make websites for publishers, especially for their wishes and for their needs. And so I can say the business most publishers make on their own website is mostly smaller than the business you can make with other publishers. So you must be very specialized, and you must have a really deep and good contact to your whole community when you can make the business by your own. Normally, you need the platforms as partners. And it has to do with the personal persona question from before. So different bookstores address different personas. So they can make business with different people or companies or whatever. And so it's necessary to diversify in these different stores.
Cool. We have a question directed for Rania. It was about, I would love to know how you overcame the problem of shipping costs, especially outside Egypt.
With the increase in volumes, you attracted the attention of the shipper, and we were able to strike a deal. It was basically based on our volume, our sales volume.
Thank you, Rania. We have another question. I think it's for both René and Rania. Can we know the ratio of purchase with credit cards to cash on delivery? And also, do you have cash on delivery in German, René? Muted.
Sorry, cash on delivery. We have had 20 years ago, but now it's over. Now we have PayPal. I think you have too. Yeah. So we have payments via credit card, and we have payment, a lot of orders where you have to pay an invoice, and you can pay. Sometimes you can before, and sometimes you can get you can pay after getting your sending. So cash and how do you say, how I don't know the name again, cash and
Cash and delivery and
yeah,
credit card. Yes.
I think it's over now. So in Germany, or it's nearly over.
Good.
In our case in Egypt, the bigger the purchase, if it's a huge number, it's usually credit. Cash on delivery are usually for the smaller amounts. That's the way people behave.
Thank you, Rania. We have a lot of questions with our active attendees, Heba Anwar. She have 3 or 4 questions. Number 1, how would I decide on good price for publishing prices and system? A lot of also recommend for when we can go to self-publishing.
Ali, could you please, if you don't mind, could you please clarify the question?
Okay.
If you want to ask it in Arabic, it's okay, no problem.
No, it's not in Arabic. It was in English. How would I decide a good price for publishing books? Yeah, it's a good price for books.
But for self-publishers, I think.
Sorry, René?
Well, I think it was a question for a good price for self-publishers. Is it right, or only for books?
For books.
Okay. For my answer is very short. I think because in Germany we have fixed prices. Me as a bookseller, I have to work with the prices which are made by the publishers. For me, I told in the last 20 years, I told all publishers I can speak to that they should make the prices higher. I think they are too cheap in Germany, and they are much higher than in Egypt, I've learned. So good prices are high prices in my mind.
In our situation, a good price, as with René in Germany, they are fixed prices. In my case, I usually give up some of my profit margin in order to make sure and to see if this reaps the satisfaction of the customer or not. And sometimes I get back to the publisher and request them if we can increase the price of some books if there's a high demand. So I think, in my opinion, it's an equation between supply and demand and the equilibrium price of both.
Okay, thank you, Rania. We have a very good question about the marketing campaign. In the marketing campaign with selling books online, how we can measure that campaign was successful or doesn't achieve the target? And what is the best KPIs to measure our marketing campaign online?
In my case, sales. I have to cover the cost of the campaign. If it doesn't, then it failed.
Only sales?
Yes.
We have customer services, the number of complaints, the lead time for delivery.
Well, this all results in improved sales. I mean, if you have sales, you can have customer service, you can have shipping, you can have all of this. But if the campaign does not result in leads, just engagement, just questions and answers, just people inquiring, you just pay a lot of money for nothing.
René, sorry, you are muted. René, sorry, you are muted, René.
Oh, I tried, but now I have. I find the button. Okay. I would think say yes in sales, but especially in margins. I think you should have a special look of. So, what are the earnings? I was very successful 10 or 15 years ago when I sold the huge Brockhaus Encyclopedia, an encyclopedia, a lexicon with 20 volumes, very expensive, costs about 1,500 euro each. So it was for me, it was possible to spend 200 or 300 euros on Google AdWords to sell one huge Brockhaus encyclopedia and to earn enough money for me to make it a good deal. So it depends on, I think.
Thank you, René. We have another question. I think there should be a value added on the website that the radar visits. What should it be when it's a sale website for books?
I need more clarification, please, Yali. I don't understand the question.
This is as attendee write it. I think there should be a value added on the website that the radar visit, the reader visit, that the reader visit. What should it be when it's a sales website for books?
Do they mean affiliate marketing? Is this what they mean? Selling the books, your books that are already on the website?
I think it's between number of visits and the reader visit. I didn't understand the question. Okay.
I think the question is about value added. So why should a reader or a book buyer, a customer should go and buy something online? Maybe this could be the question. I'm not sure. And I think there are lots of services you will do and you could do on your website. You can show much more titles than you will find in every bookstore. You could give. It depends a bit on your infrastructure. In Germany, we could give, I don't know the word in English, Leseproben, reading proofs, maybe it's right.
Reading samples?
Reading samples, thank you, Nikki, exactly. The reading samples to read the first 20 pages of a book, or you can have some book insights. You can see some pack shots from a product to see it from every side when you make it. You can do a lot online, but you can do a lot offline too. You could give some. You can make a mixture of buying print book and getting the ebook bundled too. So there are a lot of different possibilities to make more value online. But I think if you give good service only to show the books and to deliver on a fast way, it is good service by its own. So it must not be more than this. It could be enough to be relevant for lots of customers.
Thank you, René. We have another question. What are your future expectations about online sales, book online sales after Corona? René, sorry,
Rania first or me? Okay, for me, I think in Germany we say like everything in e-commerce, it will get a boost from this Corona time. So everyone professionalizes its behavior. Every child now can better than we know, maybe can talk via Zoom and via Skype and so on, and can use all these tools. And I think it's getting much more normal than before. So we will have a boost on e-commerce, but we will also have a boost on the good old local store and the good old contact in store, and everyone is waiting for the day when we can do again the business and the behavior like we have before Corona. So I think good relationships, good personal relationships will have a future, and e-commerce will have a future too.
Thank you, René. We have another question about is it better to launch the book as an EPUB with the same time for printed book, or it's better to wait until the printed book become more popular, then launch the electronic version? Could you please unmute it?
I think I should stay unmuted. In Germany, I think they started on the same time normally, but it has to do with the first editing day and first day where you are allowed to sell and to buy books. I think it's easier. Sometimes ebook started, and after that the printing book. But normally you start with at the same day now.
Thank you, René. The last question before we will wrap all the session. If we asked you, both Rania and René, to provide us just one advice in online sales, what would it be?
Rania?
Well, I copied your answer.
Okay. So we have both the same answer. Work together, I think that's the point.
Collaboration, yeah. Exactly.
Collaboration.
Yeah.
Working together.
Yes.
That's the short answer, but it's really necessary. Yeah. And I think in your situation, it's really necessary.
Thank you, René. Thank you, Rania, and thank you, René. Just we can wrap. We will wrap in Arabic in just 5 minutes. All the summaries for our session. I will move to channels. اوكي. يعني ملخص النصائح والتوصيات في عصر البيع في العصر الرقمي لبيع الكتب على الانترنت. اعتقد ان احنا يعني خلاص دخلنا العصر الرقمي، واعتقد مفيش مجال ان احنا نرجع تاني خطوه لورا. الارقام والمؤشرات والاحصائيات كلها بتقول ان مبيعات الاونلاين بتزيد، حجم التجاره الالكترونيه بيزيد، اهتمامات الدول بتفعيل قوانين الحماية للتشجيع الناس على التعامل اونلاين بيزيد، الكونسيومر بيهيفيرز او السلوك المستهلك في استخدام التكنولوجي والانترنت والموبايل ابس والتطبيقات المحمول كلها بتزيد. ده كل ده عناصر ومؤشرات بتشجعنا ان احنا لازم نتوجه لمجاراة هذا العصر الرقمي بتواجدنا وتواجد المحتوى العربي بشكل لائق على الانترنت. من اهم المميزات او المتطلبات لمواجهة هذا العصر الرقمي هم هيبقوا حاجتين: السرعة والابداع. يعني قدرتك على ان انت تكون سريع. المقولة الشهيرة او الحكمة الشهيرة ان السمكة السريعة هتأكل السمكة البطيئة حتى لو كانت كبيرة. احنا شفنا كائنات كتير كانت صغيرة بس اتحركت بسرعة على الانترنت واخذت مكانها واخذت الحصه السوقيه بشكل ممتاز، وبقى ليها تواجد قوي وفعال. وفي شركات عملاقه وشركات كبيره ما اتحركتش بنفس السرعه المطلوبه لمواجهه التغيرات اللي بتحصل في العصر الرقمي، وللاسف انهارت واختفت من الاسواق. كل ما كانت قدرتك على الابتكار والابداع قويه ومتواجده بافكار خارج الصندوق وافكار كلها ماشيه مع متطلبات العملاء اللي انت بتقابلهم، هتكون تحركك ونموك اسرع كتير. من العناصر الاساسيه لبيع الكتاب لازم البيانات زي ما بيقولوا الميتا داتا او البيانات الوصفيه للكتاب، سواء اسم الكتاب، اسم المؤلف، لو في سب تايتل، الكاتيجوري، تصنيف الكتاب باكثر من كاتيجوري، الوزن الكتاب، ابعاده، الطول والعرض، نوع التجليد، بايوجرافي عن المؤلف. تصميم الكتاب يكون واضح لان انت بيبقى على الاونلاين بتحط المساحه بتاعت الديزاين ما بتبقاش كبيره زي البرنتد بوك، زي الكتاب المطبوع. فلازم تصميم الكتاب يبقى ماشي متناسق مع وسائل العرض اللي على الشاشات، سواء كان يعني موبايل او لابتوب او كمبيوتر ديسكتوب. لازم الديزاين ده يكون معمول بشكل احترافي يكاتش الايز كده، يعني يخطف العين بكل سهوله، بيانات تبقى واضحه. لو في بايو صغيره يعني نبذه عن المؤلف، نبذه عن الكتاب، تاريخ المؤلف، لو الكتاب واخد جوائز، كل التفاصيل الخاصه بالكتاب حتى لو كانت صغيره جدا، مهم جدا انها تكون معروضه اونلاين. التسعير السليم، الكاتيجوري اللي لازم تبقى عارف البيرسونا اللي يعني انت كناشر او مسوق على الانترنت لازم تبقى عارف كويس قوي المسج بتاعتك، الرساله بتاعتك رايحه لمين. من اهم الحاجات برضو ان الويب سايت او الابلكيشن بتاعك يكون امن لوسائل الدفع، وبيبقى يعني توصل الريسيت والفواتير بشكل سليم للعملاء بتوعك لمزيد من المصداقيه والامان معاهم. خدمه العملاء مهمه جدا في سرعه التسليم والشحن، وجوده الكتاب نفسه لازم يبقى فيه اهتمام بيها، ان الكتاب ما يروحش بحاله سيئه، لازم يكون بحاله جيده جدا. التسويق التسويق التسويق، كل لما كان تسويقك تاني هنرجع للبرسونا، تبقى انت عارف ان انا كناشر الخط النشر دوت مثلا في الروايات بيتناسب مع الشريحه اللي هي مثلا البنات من 18 ل 22 سنه، ده بيتناسب مع الولاد اللي هم من 16 ل 18 سنه. هوصل لده الرساله بطريقه غير اللي انا هقدر اوصلها لده. من اهم الحاجات برضو اللي احنا نفتكرها مع بعض من كلام رينيه، ان هو ما تعيدش اختراع العجله. كاستمر از كينج، العميل هو اهم حاجه في المبيعات الاونلاين بتاعتنا. في ختام الجلسه بنشكر حضراتكم جدا، وبنفكركم ان شاء الله يوم الثلاثاء القادم الجلسه القادمه هتكون بعنوان بيع حقوق الترجمه، هتبقى يوم الثلاثاء القادم الموافق 6 ابريل، والرابط وبيانات التسجيل هتبقى موجوده على الويب سايت بتاع معهد جوتا، وهنرسلها لحضراتكم برضو. وفي كانت الاستاذه نيكي لو حد يعني هنرسل البرزنتيشن على الايميل اللي موجود في الشات theron@bookmessa.de، يعني هو موجود في الشات، لو حضراتكم برضو مشكورين يعني تلقوا نظره عليه، واللي عايز البرزنتيشن يرسل اليها وهي هترسلها لحضراتكم. والفيديو هيكون موجود على القنوات الخاصة على اليوتيوب بمعرض فرانكفورت والصفحة الخاصة باتحاد ناشئين المصريين. شكرا جدا لحضراتكم، وإن شاء الله نلقاكم يوم الثلاثاء.